Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Kay, back at it with a new video. There's this video circulating from China on YouTube, and the Chinese makers of bags and purses are showing how they can duplicate these expensive bags and purses from Europe at a fraction of the amount. And in most cases, they're making these bags. So what they're saying is that Americans and Europeans are spending a lot of money on these Gucci's and all these other high name bags and purses, that they all coming from the same place. All they're doing is putting their name on it, and people are spending thousands of dollars just to say they got a Louis Vuitton or Gucci or whatever the names are. And the point that I'm making in this video is that it's really just a waste of money. Take the rappers. They got these big old gold chains with a pendant, on their necks, and they're spending like $500,000 for this. Now, most of these rappers, and I'm not saying all, really can't afford it. And you got the basketball players with the big chains and all that. Don't that kind of weigh your neck down a little? Having that big heavy thing around it. What could you do with $500,000? You can do a lot with that, especially if you invested it right. If you put that money in the stock market, think about that, how it would grow over time. If you bought a $500,000 necklace, what would that be in the market 10, 15 years from now? You'll probably be looking at easily over $2, $3 million if you invested it correctly. And, it's just, when I look at this, and I'm not player hating, but when I look at people with the big fancy cars and all this other stuff, that money could have probably been well spent. Or you making it rain at the strip joint. Them women don't even know you, and that's just their job. They just coming in there to take off some clothes and make your money, or make their money off you, rather. There's a lot of waste going on in America, and now is not the time to be wasting money. I mean, if you got money, that money should be growing for you. You want your money to grow. You don't want to just make it rain at the club or get this big chain to go around your neck that if you ever need money, you spend $500,000 on that necklace, you take it to the pawn shop, they're not going to give you no $500,000 for it. They're going to give you a little nothing. And then all they're going to do is take that same big heavy chain and melt it back down to gold. And then resell it at a higher price for the next Joe. Same thing with these bags and purses. To spend a couple of $1,000 just to say I got a Louis Vuitton and the guy proved it is coming from China. So if you go to China, you can get the same bag for a fraction of the amount. I mean, it was an impressive video on how they make the bags and the zippers, and they said all it is just a name tag on it. That's it. It's all coming from China. China make everything. So, I think we need to be a little bit more frugal with our money. Make the money work for us. You styling, you profiling. And ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what you're working for. But to build long-term wealth, you have to put it in vehicles where your money's going to grow over time. You can buy a house that's going to appreciate over time if it's in the right area. You can buy a rental property, and that's going to generate cash every month for you. You know, you can buy stocks, which is going to appreciate over time. You know, some stocks appreciate a lot faster than others. But if you're putting it in like a S&P 500 growth fund and anything like that, or I'm gonna go a step further, even Bitcoin, you know, uh, it can grow over time. And so now you're building wealth because what you want is you want to have money in case of an emergency. You know, I just called a flat yesterday, and I had to shell out. I think about $17, something like that. But what if all my money was tied up in my stuff? Now I can't get the car fixed. What if the furnace go out? What if the roof start leaking? You know, these are the things that we have to take under consideration. Or what about that car note? Instead of buying stuff, why not pay the car off? Why not pay that house off? But then you're going to sleep better at night. You know, knowing that, you know, you took care of the main things. Because we all need shelter. We all need transportation if you know how to drive. You know, so I'm not knocking stuff. But I think, you know, the money can be probably better spent if you put it towards things that make sense over the long term. I'm not saying, you know, don't go out for dinner, don't buy you a nice pair of slacks, shoes. Sure, you should, because that's what you're working for. I once worked with this guy, and he used to go out every pay period and buy clothes and shoes. And he was saying most of the time he don't even wear the stuff. He said, I got all this new stuff in there. He said, I don't even wear it. So then now, isn't that a waste of money? Couldn't that money be better spent if you was taking that $100 or whatever you're spending and you putting it in the market and you watching your money grow over time? You know, you sleep better at night because you know you kind of, you know, built yourself a little nest egg. I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, yeah, stuff is nice, but the minute you leave out the store with it and you wear it a couple of times, the thrill goes away quick. But if you're investing in something worthwhile, like I said, real estate, stocks, CDs, anything like that, you know, that stays with you a lot longer than playing the lottery, spend $100 and then your numbers don't come out. Now you're doing is just tearing up those tickets. Whereas for stocks, yeah, the market is down today, but it's going to be up tomorrow. You know, stocks traditionally go up and down, but they go up more than they go down. So that's all I have for you. You know, this is Kay, back at it with a new video. Take care, guys.